Since the dawn of animation, fandoms have always existed. Of course, some of these are pretty good, and there are also some that are really, really, really bad. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all the different anime fan bases from shows that I have seen. I don't want to rank ones I haven't seen because, I can't give an accurate assessment. So let's get straight into it with this new Tier List Tuesday. Alright, so starting off here, we have our categories. We have lovely, mostly good, neutral, mostly bad, and toxic, right? Obviously, these are pretty self-explanatory, but, we're going to get straight into this and hop into it with AOT. Now, I've seen AOT. I'm not a big fan of the show, but the fan base, to me, they're not toxic, but they're definitely not good. I would say mostly bad because I feel like with most Attack on Titan fans, they're not taking anything less than number one for an answer. I mean, if you don't think Attack on Titan is number one and it's somebody else's number one, they're going to want to kill you, bro. They're going to think that, it's bad. Now, it's not all of them, but a lot of Attack on Titan fans I've ran into are like that, but also a lot of them don't understand what an opinion is, because I always say, I don't like Titans, and I feel like that's fair. I always say I think the show's good, it's just not for me. I really don't like Titans. I find them boring, and their immediate thing is like, oh, you just don't understand what you're watching, blah blah, this and that, and it's like, no, I just don't like it, right? They don't really take no for an answer for the most part, but not all of them are that bad. There's some cool Attack on Titan fans that are like, it's my favorite, I think it's the greatest, but it's cool. So most of them suck, but there are some that are pretty good. Next we have Baki. Honestly, I'm going to put Baki in mostly bad as well. You would think, with Baki fans, you'd see some of the takes they make and some of the stuff they say, and you'd be like, dang, man, Baki must be this amazing show. And it's not. I like Baki. I think it's good. But, the way people talk about Baki, I remember I did a TikTok about Baki, and I was saying it was good, but it wasn't, anything special. Dude, the Baki fans were hating on me, ripping on me. I'm like, dude, the show's not that good. I don't understand all the hate. Now, a lot of Baki fans, I'm a Baki fan. I have a friend that's a Baki fan, right? We like the show, and not most of us, but there are some of us that, just like the show for what it is, right? Not trying to, overrate it and overstep, but, a lot of Baki fans think it's, the greatest show ever. It's not even the greatest fighting show, not even close. Yeah, but they think it's, above everything else, which is kind of crazy to me. Same with Record of Ragnarok fans, but I haven't seen that, so I'm not going to put that on here. Next, we have Beyblade. I would say mostly good. I feel like if you watch Beyblade, even as a child, you appreciate things a lot more in anime, because, with Beyblade, it's yes, it is a kid's anime, but there's a lot of, I don't want to say mature, but there's a lot of good moments for adults as well. And if you watch Beyblade, you just find appreciation in a lot more shows, I feel for the most part. Plus, Beyblade fans, I don't feel ever talk bad about the other parts or other shows. They just try to uplift their parts. I know a lot of people like Beyblade Burst. I haven't seen it. I don't hate on Burst. They don't hate on Metal Fusion, right? They're just oh, I love Beyblade Burst, that's the best one. And they're relatively positive about things, so I do appreciate that. So I would say mostly good. It's not they're an incredibly huge fan base, so there's not a lot of love to give, so they're not going to go lovely, but for the most part, they're pretty good. Next, we have Bleach, and I'm going to put Bleach in toxic, honestly. There will be a trend you will notice, and I realized this the other day, and this is the reason I wanted to make this video, is all, current anime, they seem to have the most toxic fan base, because it's all the surface level people watching them, and they just feel so strongly about the one thing they know about. And you notice as shows begin to die, we'll talk about Naruto real quick as an example. Naruto, when it was still going on, had a very toxic fan base. Nowadays, you don't hear any Naruto fans really being toxic at all, because the show's not going on anymore, right? All the surface level fans are gone, and so yeah, when something's going on like Bleach is right now, it becomes very toxic. I said original Bleach just isn't really that great. I think it's good, but it's not nearly as good as One Piece or Naruto. And obviously that warrants an argument. If people want to argue, that's fine, this and that, but a lot of people act like Bleach is the king of the big three, the best of the big three, one of the best manga shonen, and I just don't agree with that, and I understand that that's a different opinion, different take, but, then that's fine. Some people that like Bleach, that's cool with me, but a lot of Bleach fans, they don't take it that way. They've got to be the best, right? And again, I think it's a lot of new surface level people. because my friend's favorite anime is Bleach, and I tell him like, hey, I don't think it's that great. He's like, oh, it's fine. And it's like, it doesn't matter, right? But for the most part, they have a pretty big toxic fan base right now. Everything's trying to be like, oh, Bleach is better than this, Bleach is better than that, and it's like, we don't care, buddy. Anyway, next we have Bungo Stray Dogs. I'm honestly gonna put them in neutral. And mainly because it's like 50-50. I feel like a lot of Bungo fans are pretty cool, and I feel like a lot of Bungo fans are pretty weird. I don't really think they're toxic per se, but they are pretty strange. There's some weird like theories and stuff that people make in fan service type things, you know what I'm saying, of Bungo Stray Dogs, and I find that a little weird. It doesn't really have anything to do with the show, to be honest, so for me, I find that strange. However, I feel like most Bungo fans just appreciate it's a pretty good show, right? So I'm gonna put them in neutral because I feel like there's like half of them are weird and half of them are good. So yeah. Next we have Chainsaw Man, obviously toxic. If you are in the anime-manga community at all on TikTok, you know the Chainsaw Man fandom is absolutely toxic right now. If you don't like one thing they do, it's not, oh, a different opinion, or it's not even an arguable thing. It's you have no media literacy. You have no idea what's going on. Like, for example, I once said Denji is a gooner, and people are like, he's not a gooner, he's a victim. You have no media literacy. No, he is most definitely both. Like, most definitely. But yeah, Chainsaw Man fans everywhere they go be like, you have no media literacy. You can't read. You don't know this, that. And it's like, bro, it's not that deep. It's a fucking show or a book. Like, I don't care about this shit as much as y'all do, but they ride or die for this shit. So Chainsaw Man fans, super toxic. Next we have Code Geass. Honestly, I'm gonna put them in mostly bad as well. I guess we'll rank them in the tiers as well. I'd have it like this, but anyway. Actually, that doesn't even make sense. We're not doing that. Never mind. That's too complicated. Next we have Code Geass though, and the reason I'm putting it in mostly bad is because I've talked a lot about Code Geass. I've talked about how much I love Code Geass. However, every time I talk about it or every time I give my reviews on Code Geass, it's always, it is perfect. It should be a 10 out of 10. Code Geass is this good. Code Geass is that good. Like, it's never enough with Code Geass fans, right? Because, like, you know, spoilers for some of the anime reviews, I gave it a very high score. It's in the top 5 as of now, and I'm almost done with them on TikTok. It's in the top 5, and yet I still get comments all the time on ones, and it's like, how is Code Geass not a 10 out of 10? And it's like, bro, no show's a 10 out of 10. I don't know. The fans, it's similar to Attack on Titan. They think it's the number one and has to be number one, and if you don't agree, you are just wrong. And again, it's also very similar to Attack on Titan. You do have some cool ones that are like, I think it's the greatest show ever, but, you know, I get why people don't think it is, and it's like, yeah, but a lot of them, I get a lot of toxic comments from Code Geass fans being like, this is the greatest thing of all time, and it's like, it's not, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, next we have Cowboy Bebop. I'm going to put it in neutral because it's kind of similar to Bungo. Like, I love Cowboy Bebop. I'm a Cowboy Bebop fan, but it has that, like, teenage boy effect, I guess, of misunderstanding characters, like people misunderstanding Spike. It's like the thing with Dexter where it's like, Dexter's not a good person, man. You know, but that's a whole different conversation. But anyway, yeah, I feel like Cowboy Bebop is like that. I think a lot of people just watch and enjoy the show. Me, I love the show. You know, I felt it was relatable to me a lot, but I feel like a lot of people also are, you know, like the teenage boy thing, just misunderstanding a lot of the stuff and spreading these weird rumors. So that's why I'm going to put it in neutral. Now, I feel like it is mostly good, but I do want to put it in neutral because that's like such a loud part of the internet, I feel like. So I feel like I got to put it in neutral, but I love Cowboy Bebop though. Next we have Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is obviously toxic. It's going to be the king of toxicity because it's one of the most popular anime of all time. And the reason why it is so toxic is, you know, the power scaling stuff is funny, but it's always people talking about all the time. Dragon Ball's the greatest, Dragon Ball this, and that. Dragon Ball has to be in every single conversation. We're talking about the big three, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, Dragon Ball's the greatest. It's like, bro, Dragon Ball's not in the big three. It literally has nothing to do with that. So Dragon Ball just gets brought up all the time for no reason, and people just start arguments about Dragon Ball when the conversation has nothing to do with Dragon Ball. Obviously, that's super toxic. Next, we have Death Note. Again, I think I'm going to put it, I don't know. I'm going to put it in neutral because to me, Death Note, I feel like it's 50-50% on the fan base. I feel like sometimes you run into cool people that are like, yeah, Death Note's great, love Death Note, it's awesome. And I think you run into people that's like, Death Note's like the greatest thing ever. It's like one of a kind, and it's like so unique, so special. And it's like, I don't know, man. I honestly, I think I'm going to put it mostly good. Because now that I think about it, it's not like they ever really get toxic or start arguments or anything, but they'll just say their opinion, which isn't bad at all. Now, there are some toxic ones out there, which is why it's not going into lovely, but now that I think about it, when I talk about Death Note, it's normally like, oh, I disagree, but, you know, it's like they're respectful about it. So I actually put it mostly good. You know, I fuck with Death Note fans. They're a lot better than a lot of other fandoms. Next, we have Death Parade. I'm going to put them in lovely. I've never met a toxic Death Parade fan at all. They never interjected into everything. Like, I never see people being like, bringing up Death Parade in conversations that don't matter. And every time I talk to somebody about Death Parade, they're like, yeah, I thought it was a great show. It was awesome. It's pretty good. You know, they recommend it to people and stuff, and that's it. So I think it's a pretty lovely community to talk to, honestly. Sorry, I had to get a sip of water there. Next, we have Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer's overrated, but I'm not going to lie. Their community is mostly good because a lot of Demon Slayer fans, I feel like, I don't really see that many that are toxic. Maybe that's just me, but I never see anybody that's like, Demon Slayer is like super good or anything like that. Every now and then you'll get ones that are like, how are you rating Demon Slayer so low? But every time I talk about Demon Slayer, I'm like, it's a mid show, and I don't get any hate for it. A lot of Demon Slayer fans, you know, just like, hey, I enjoy the show. You don't gotta enjoy the show. And, you know, it's kind of surprising for a newer anime, especially being so popular, that it's not really that toxic. Because I think a lot of them realize, hey, it is a simple show, but I enjoy it, right? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, I think mostly good is fine. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't ever see any toxic Demon Slayer fans. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Next, we have Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I'm going to put them in neutral. I've never really met a Cyberpunk Edge Runners fan that has been, like, good to talk to, but I've never met one that's bad to talk to. I just feel like I disagree with them most of the time, but it doesn't make them good or bad, right? But yeah, again, they're not really good or bad. It's not like they're inviting to have conversations about it and stuff like that. It's not like they're lovely to talk to, but they're also not bad to talk to. It's not like they're being toxic or anything, but yeah, I think their definition of neutral, because like the fan base just doesn't feel strongly either way, like toxic or lovely. Like they're kind of in the middle, which is honestly probably better than most, right? Neutral might be the place you want to be in terms for Cyberpunk, but some of the other ones maybe not. All right, next we have Fairy Tail. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to say mostly good because there are some toxic ones that I do get. But again, I think it's similar to Demon Slayer. A lot of their fans know, like, hey, it's not really the most in-depth show. It's not the craziest show out there. It's not the most unique show out there. But I like it, and it's cool. And you know what? They take the power of friendship from the show into their conversations because they just be friendly to everybody. And I think that's totally valid because a lot of people don't really like Fairy Tail, or I shouldn't say don't really like it, but a lot of people know it's not the greatest, right? Like I said, pretty much same thing with Demon Slayer, right? But a lot of them are actually pretty friendly. But you do have some toxic ones every now and then. But yeah, for the most part, most people are pretty chill about Fairy Tail. Next we have Golden Kamuy. I'm going to put them in mostly good, and it's a similar situation to like Bungo. I think there's a chunk of the community that is very strange, like weird in Golden Kamuy. Like they just make weird shit, and yeah, not a big fan of that side, but I feel like majority of the people in Golden Kamuy just like, hey, it's a pretty funny show, you know, the characters are pretty cool, let's talk about it. And it's like, that's pretty good, you know. And I've talked about Golden Kamuy before, and I've said it's a decent show. It's not like anything great. It's like, I describe it as the perfect 7 out of 10 anime, and people don't hate on it. They're like, yeah, you know, it makes sense, right? Like, it kind of is. So I feel like they're good to talk to. You know, they respect other people's opinions, and yeah, they realize what their show is. Next we have Gurren Lagann. I would again say mostly good. I think the biggest problem is similar to things when I say like about Attack on Titan. It's only one thing with Gurren Lagann. I'm like, hey, I hate mechs, so I'm not gonna watch it, right? Like I've tried watching it and I just don't like mechs. Mechs ruin stories for me. And some of them will be toxic and be like, hey, like that, like they're like, how you gonna let that ruin the story? Like it's not the whole plot of the story. Anyway, that's besides the point. But most of them are like, you know, makes sense, cool. I think it's like a great show. I recommend watching it. Everybody should watch it. And it's like, that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like they're mostly nice for the most part, but you do have some toxic ones that are like, oh, you don't like this, you're stupid. And it's like, all right, bro, like that's not how this works. But anyway, we'll move on to Hunter x Hunter. Honestly, I think Hunter x Hunter is going to have to go in lovely just by default. I've never really met a toxic Hunter x Hunter fan. Actually, I've met one, but I'm not going to let one hold it back. Because I think most people like Hunter x Hunter, and I think a lot of, like, everybody that's watched is like, it's a good show. So I think you're not going to have a lot of disagreement from people. So that's why I think it ends up being lovely, because everybody loves talking about it, and people will talk about it, share their opinions and stuff like that, and nobody really cares or can say anything because like the show's not even halfway over, right? So I think it's a lot of like ambiguity up in the air, if that's the right word, and if that makes sense. I think it's like, all right, that could be true, you know, so it's like, you know, people just accept it and roll with it, right? So I think they're pretty lovely for the most part, so yeah. Next we have JoJo's. JoJo's is going on toxic. If you watched any of my videos before, you know how I feel about the JoJo's fan base. JoJo's is my second favorite anime of all time, but it's going to move down on the list if these JoJo fans keep it up. I cannot state enough how much I love JoJo's. Every time I do something with JoJo's, I always talk about how great it is. And the second I critique one thing about JoJo's, I hate JoJo's. I no longer love JoJo's. I'm an absolute JoJo's hater, and I'm an idiot. I should never read or watch anything again. JoJo's is the greatest thing of all time. If it's not 10 out of 10 everywhere, all across the boards, I'm wrong. And it's like, that's not true. I love JoJo's. It's not perfect. There's no show that's perfect, okay? Shows have problems. Every show has a problem in it. And to me, I think Part 4 is the problem. People, like, cannot stand that. They're like, Part 4 is the greatest thing of all time. It's not. Like, and it could be your favorite part. It's still not the greatest thing of all time, because there's no such thing as being the greatest thing of all time when it comes to anime. So, for me, it's just always super toxic talking to a JoJo's fan, because it's like, I love JoJo's. I'm a JoJo's fan, and I want to talk about the cool things about it. And I want to talk about how great of a show it is, and, like, you know, I want to be able to say, like, oh, you know, maybe I don't like this part that much, but I love this part. I love these characters. But no, it's always like, if you don't think JoJo's is an absolute 10 out of 10 perfection of an anime, like, you're an idiot. Like, that's what they say. And it's like, I'm sorry, but that's just not good for any community. It makes JoJo's look bad. And, you know, if I hadn't watched JoJo's and I saw comments like that, I would never watch it. I'm just being honest. You guys drive people away from the show. It's absolutely terrible. They're probably the worst fan base we've had so far, I'm going to be honest. Next, we have JJK. I have to go neutral because this fandom literally swings like this. Like, it is so back and forth that it's just impossible to keep it anywhere else. So the reason I have it in neutral is because when it came out, it was super overrated. Like, everybody was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing. This is going to be the greatest anime ever. And it just obviously wasn't. So it was super overrated at that time. And then, you know, it's still overrated for a bit, and then they start leaking everything, and it's like, that's like the most toxic thing ever. JJK has the most leakers by far, and it is so fucking toxic. It is terrible. Like, that's the worst thing ever. That alone, I could put in toxic. But now that all that's over, people are like, JJK is trash. JJK ending is terrible. JJK sucks. It's not even one of the best new gen anymore. Like, that's what you're hearing now, and it's like, make up your mind. Is it the greatest new gen? Is it going to be the greatest anime ever? Or is it trash? Like, and it just goes back and forth. Like, every now and then you have people be like when new seasons come out, people are like, oh, JJK is awesome. And then when the season's over, they're going to be like, JJK is not really that good. So, that's why I'm putting it in neutral, because it just swings back and forth. You could have an argument for anywhere on here, right? Wait, but actually, since it sways back and forth, I'm putting it in toxic. It's a toxic community, man. I don't know what I was thinking right there, because it swaying back and forth is toxic, bro. Like, that is terrible. Like, you can't be like, I love the show and I hate the show and the show's great and the show's trash, the ending's great, the ending's trash. Like, you can't. Like, the fan base is toxic for JJK. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, that's terrible, man. That's nothing but extremes. Like, that's not good. But next we have One Piece. I'd say One Piece is mostly bad. Again, it's a current show going on. But I actually do slowly think that One Piece fandom is getting better. Like, I think like 2 years ago I would have put it in toxic. But I don't think they're that toxic anymore. I think they're slowly getting better, because I think they're starting to realize, like, hey, man, it's not for everybody. It's just not for everybody. And it's like, that's cool. But a lot of them think it should be for everybody. And a lot of them are like, if you don't watch One Piece, you're stupid, this, and that. And it's like, bro, people like what they like. And I think One Piece fans, it's taken them a while to learn that. About 30 years. It's taken them to learn, like, hey, man, people are going to like what they like. If they don't want to watch something because it's long, then they don't. The only thing I get the argument for is people saying One Piece is bad because it's long. And that's just being an idiot. But not watching it because it's long is perfectly fine. But yeah, so for me, it's like, I think they're still mostly bad. A lot of One Piece fans are toxic, but they are slowly getting better and better. Next, we have One Punch Man. This is so hard to rate the One Punch Man. I think I'm going to put mostly good. Mainly because a lot of people are going to be agreeing with One Punch Man fans now, and them hating on the show is not toxic. It's going to be valid, and I think the ones that aren't hating on the show, they are going to be nice to talk to because they are somehow managing to stay positive through this dog shit that they've got going on. So, yeah, I think One Punch fans are pretty solid to talk to. The worst part about One Punch fans are the ones that are like, Saitama beats everybody. Saitama beats Goku. Saitama's like, power scalers in any community are fucking dog shit. If you're a power scaler, please stop. Unless you just do it for fun. Like, every now and then, like, I'll do them for fun. But if you're, like, getting serious about, like, who beats who, you need to go outside. Genuinely, bro. Like, nothing is that serious. It's a fucking animated cartoon. Anyway, let's move on to Rave Master. I'm gonna have to put it in neutral. There is no fan base for Rave Master. It's dog shit. Nobody knows about it for a good reason. Next we have Solo Leveling. I'm gonna put it in mostly bad. Actually, I'm gonna put it in toxic. The fan base is the reason alone this shit gets nominated for any awards. And I like Solo Leveling, but it's not great. Like, it's a good show. It's a good watch because of how simple it is, but the story's ass. There are no characters that are important. It is just Sun Jin Woo aura farming and fighting the whole time. I'm sorry, that's just not a great show. It's good because it's simple. You know, it's kind of like Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is decent, but it's not, like, great. It's the same thing with Solo Leveling. So I'm going to put it in toxic because this show just, it has got to a place because of the fan base that it just should not be. So I don't really get it. Also, I have a friend that's a massive Solo Leveling fan. He's like, this is one of the greatest things ever. I don't understand that at all. Yeah, I would say they're pretty toxic. Not just because they think it's a, like, amazing show or anything. That doesn't really make them toxic, but I think for the most part, if you tell them, like, it's a mid show, they're like, Solo Leveling's not mid. Because I see it all the time in comments. People be like, Solo Leveling's mid, and then you'll have the Solo Leveling fanboys come out and be like, Solo Leveling's like the greatest thing out of Korea. And it's like, yeah, not really. They just get in heated arguments a lot. I see Solo Leveling discourse just get all over the place, so I'm going to put it in toxic. Next we have Vinland Saga. I'm also putting Vinland Saga in mostly bad. This is another community that just cannot accept different opinions, and I don't really get it, because I'll be like, hey, I don't like stuff set in the past, so I'm not a big fan of Vinland Saga. Like, I don't like older shows like that, and they'll be like, did you watch with your eyes closed? Do you not like that? Like, they just always are hating, bro. It's like, if you don't fuck with Vinland Saga, it's like there's something wrong with you. And it's like, no, bro, just not all of us care about Viking shit. Like, yes, Thorfinn is cool. I fuck with Thorfinn, but like, the anime to me is like not really anything crazy, bro. Like, other than Thorfinn, the rest of the show's not fantastic. And I get Thorfinn's the main character, but you know, it just always warrants a lot of hate when you don't think Vinland Saga is like the greatest thing ever, Thorfinn's like the greatest main character ever, or if you call out like, hey, I don't really like season 2, that's like, it's always a bunch of hate coming from. There are some that are cool because Vinland Saga, I mean, the main thing is like, I have no enemies, yet a lot of Vinland Saga fans start making enemies. Like, y'all gotta listen to your main character, boss. Like, have no enemies, bro. But anyway, let's move on to Devil May Cry. I would actually say lovely, because the haters of it, I wouldn't say aren't really a part of the fandom. The one thing I don't get with Devil May Cry is like the video game fans coming in and being like, it's nothing like the video games. And it's like, no shit, buddy. If you want the story from the video games, go play the fucking video games. Like, that's the one thing I don't get. And I feel like all the anime fans come together and agree with that. And it's like, we can all talk about the same thing, because it's like, hey, we like the anime, even if it's not like the games. It's funny, it's cool, the music's great, it's awesome, right? Like, I feel like we can come together and all agree, like the people that are watching will be like, hey, you know, we enjoy it, it's cool. But you got the people that are like, it's nothing like the games, and it's like, it shouldn't be like the games. And it pit, like, but we all, you know, all the people in the Devil May Cry community, they come together, the anime one, come together and they're like, hey, it's fine, you know? But next we move on to D. Gray Man. I'm going to put it in toxic. They don't have a big fan base, but these motherfuckers talk about this show like it's the greatest thing of all time, and it's not even good. Like, I'm not even gonna sit there and be like, oh, it's decent. It's not a good show. It's really not. And I get it, that's a differing opinion. You'd be like, oh, this isn't that, but it's like, I've got so many recommendations for D. Gray Man, and when I talk about it, I'm like, hey, it's just not really that good. They're like always starting an argument. Like, I don't know, they're always trying to interject it. It's like similar with Dragon Ball, and it's like, oh, I watched this one niche show, D. Gray Man, and it's fire. It's not a good show, but it always gets interjected, and it always comes up in conversations. And when I say it's mid, they're like, oh, you just don't know this and that, blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, it's just not that good. Anyway, next we have GTO. I would say lovely, honestly. You don't watch GTO unless if you know you're going to enjoy it. I feel like it's not a show many people have watched. So when you talk to people that have watched it, they think it's funny, they think it's good, and then you move on. Like, there's no real other discourse there other than a bunch of agreeing with each other. So it's probably pretty lovely. Next we have Tsukimichi. Honestly, I'm going to put it in mostly good. This is a show I don't really like. But a lot of the community get why I don't like it. Like, when I talk about Tsukimichi, I'm like, I don't really enjoy it for these reasons, that reasons, and they're like, yeah, that makes sense, and it's cool for the most part. Again, it's a isekai though, and the isekai fan base is dog ass, so yeah, you get how that goes. But for Tsukimichi in specific, it's not bad, right? They're normally pretty positive, but it is an isekai, and it comes with isekai fans. Isekai fans suck, so yeah, that's why it's not in lovely. Next we have the Elusive Samurai. This one is going to be out of pure hate. It's going into toxic. There's not many Elusive Samurai fans, but this show's dog ass, and if you are a fan of this, I just know you're not a good person, because it's a terrible fucking show. It's the worst show ever of all time, and I'm sorry if any of you watching this are this person, and I'm sorry. It is the only show I hate. I hate this show. It is the worst show of all time, and it is the only show I have ever watched that I've sat there and been like, how could anybody actually ever enjoy this? Like, it is the biggest piece of hot ass ever, and so if you like it, I know your opinions suck, and just don't even get me into it. Let's just leave it there and let's continue. Next we have Kill la Kill. It's on a similar pace of the Elusive Samurai. I'm going to put it in mostly bad, because I'm going to be honest, the show's funny and all and cool or whatever, but if you're like in the fan base of the show, you are a gooner. Like, that you are just a gooner. Like, there's nothing else that brings you to the fan base of this show unless if you're a gooner, and obviously that's going to warrant a lot of them being gooners, so it's going to be mostly bad, right? I don't think like the show's that bad or anything like that. It's just, yeah, if you are a fan of Kill la Kill, you are like most likely going to be one type of person. So yeah, that's why it's gonna go mostly bad. Next we have Mashal. I'm a big Mashal fan myself. I'm gonna put it in neutral, because I feel like there's times with Mashal where we're like, it's the funniest show ever. Like, it's one of the best new gen, and a lot of people don't agree with that. And I think a lot of Mashal fans don't really take it as a no. It's like, oh, you just didn't watch it right, you just didn't understand it right. But then a lot of them are like, no, I just love it, and it's just cool, and it's fun to talk about, so it's cool with that. So yeah, I'm gonna go neutral. I feel like they're pretty 50-50. Next we have Pokemon. I'm putting Pokemon in toxic. I don't give a fuck. The Pokemon anime is not good, and it's not to hate on it. There are good parts to it, but I remember every time I talk about Pokemon, they're like, Pokemon's the best thing ever, this and that. And people are ready to ride or die for Pokemon. I mean, you see how many people bought the $20 ROM of the game that's been out for 30 years that you can play for free online, that they decided to buy for $20 on the Switch. So yeah, the Pokemon fan base is ride or die for that shit, and it's not that good. I do like some of the Pokemon series, but a lot of them do suck, and a lot of people act like they're amazing. They're not amazing, and if you don't say they're amazing, like, they're gonna want to kill you, dude. Pokemon fans are ride or die about that shit, and in a bad way, not in a good way, bro, because they're defending shit. They're defending a company that wouldn't defend them for a penny. Like, they're not doing shit, bro. Like, I don't know. Pokemon fans are just too extreme, and having an extreme fan base like that is always gonna be toxic. Next we have Windbreaker. I think the show's just overrated, but the fan base, I'd say, is mostly good. The only part of the fan base I don't like is the extreme people, like in Japan. I went to Japan, and for some reason there, Windbreaker is like extremely popular, and there's some crazy motherfuckers there to buy Windbreaker at the manga shops, bro. And so, yeah, other than those people, it's mostly good. I mean, because I feel like if you like Windbreaker, you're never going to be like, oh, why don't you like this? It's like, I get why you don't like it. If that makes sense. It's definitely like, not a bad community. I'd say mostly good. Next we have the Ippo community. They're going to go in lovely. I've never heard a toxic Ippo fan, because when you watch Ippo, you learn a lot, especially about being nice to other people. So I think all Ippo fans are lovely. I've never met a toxic Ippo fan at all. And I think all the conversations about Ippo go well. And I think an Ippo fan talking about other anime go well, right? The only time I ever see anything that's like slightly toxic about Ippo fans is when everybody's talking about sports, anime, and stuff, and they're like, oh, Ippo's the best. And it's like, that's not even that crazy, because it's kind of relative to the conversation, so yeah, I think lovely to talk to. Ghost in the Shell, this one is gonna go neutral, because I barely met anybody who's watched it, and I get 50-50 reactions on the people that have. Some people are like, oh, if you haven't watched this, you just don't know anything. And it's like, bro, not everybody's going to watch a movie from 1995. And then you have the other people that are like, man, it's just such a great movie, which is me. When it's like, oh, it's just such a great movie, and it's definitely worth a watch, you know. And then that's about it. So I'd say it's like 50-50. Next, we have the God of High School. I'm going to be honest, that fan base is not good. Anytime I talk about God of High School, you know, I love it. I read the manhwa or whatever. It's just always an argument about something, I feel like. And it's like, there's so much shit that happens in it. And there's so much to talk about opinions and this and that. And people in the God of High School community, I feel like, get hung up on one thing, and then it's just over with from there. Also, another thing I will not forgive them for is going quiet after that anime came out and was fucking dog shit, okay? That is one thing I'll never forgive the God of High School community for, and they will always be mostly bad for me, is this is the greatest thing out of Korea, in my opinion, and the anime it got was fucking dog shit, and nobody cared. How is this going to be one of the most popular, like, manhwa in Korea, and we don't give a shit when it fucking drops to ass? Now, maybe Korea had an uprage or upsoar, I don't know, but I remember when this came out, and I watched it, and it was, you know, it was decent because I didn't know anything about it, but, like, if you've read it, how is there not uproar here like there is with other stuff? Like, when T-Bait came out, people were like, oh, T-Bait's trash, there's nothing compared to the thing. Where was that with God of High School? It needed that. Where was the fan base then? They pissed me off with that. That anime needs a redo. That makes me so mad. Anyway, let's move on. Psyche K. I'm going to put him in neutral. I feel like it's similar to, like, Cyberpunk. There's some good, there's some bad, but a lot of them just kind of are neutral. They're not really extreme in any direction. So, yeah, I feel like it's honestly pretty neutral. Next, we have Rurouni Kenshin. I'm going to put it in neutral as well, because there are extremes with the Rurouni Kenshin, but it's all because of the author, because obviously the author's a piece of shit. Fuck the guy that created Rurouni Kenshin. But it is a good story, so a lot of people will watch it, and a lot of people have read it, because it is a good story. But everybody knows what the author did, and so it always creates super, like, it's controversial, right? So it's always going to have, like, bad stuff about it. You have some people that are good that's like, hey, the story's good, but the author's a piece of shit. Sorry, my Mike Tyson slipped out there. And those are the good people. And then you have people arguing anything else, and I don't want to hear any of that. So it's gonna go neutral. Just too many extremes. Actually, that might make it toxic. No, too many extremes. That's what we did with JJK. But no, because I feel like it's got to go neutral. Because if you are saying what I'm saying, which a lot of people do, like, it's a good story, and you know, it's the author's a piece of shit. That's good. That's a good thing to say. So I'm gonna leave it neutral. Next, we have Skate the Infinity. I'm going to go toxic. You know, this is another show I really don't like. It's my second least favorite anime of all time. It's not as bad as Elusive Samurai. Like, I get why people like Skate the Infinity, but the fact I don't like it pisses them off. They're like, how do you not like Skate the Infinity? And to me, I think the show's dog shit. I don't see, like, why people think it's amazing. I can get why people like it, but I don't really get the reason for people hating when I'm like, I think it's bad. I do think it's bad. I don't think it's a good show. And people are losing their minds that I'm like, oh my god, you don't think this is good, this is that. And it's like, bro, it's just really not to me. Like, I think it's because it's like, it's such a small anime, they got to defend it. I feel like they're like, I've got to defend this, but you don't, man. Just be nice, and that's more defense than actually going out and being toxic about things. Just like defend the show. Or not defend the show, just be nice about it, and then you can be like, at least the fans aren't that bad, you know, but the fans are bad and the show's bad. Alright, next we have Doraemon. I'm gonna go neutral. It's a kid's show, and there's no adult watching Doraemon, I'm gonna be honest. It's not like Beyblade where you could still watch it now. Doraemon, once you're not a kid anymore, you just can't watch it anymore, so I'm gonna go neutral. Next we have Boruto. The Boruto fan base is toxic, bro. And you know, I guess I am a part of it because I've read a lot of Boruto. I've watched a lot of Boruto. So, yeah, it's always extremes. It's either people thinking like, oh, Boruto's actually amazing, or Boruto's shit. And then you got to be like the reasonable guy and be like, hey, Boruto is shit. Twin Blue Vortex is pretty good so far. So, you know, like, you kind of got to be in between there, but it's not. It's either Boruto's amazing or Boruto's dog shit, and it just leads to toxic arguments all the time, whether you're coming in saying Boruto's dog shit or you're coming in saying it's amazing. Somebody's going to see that, and somebody's going to dislike it and start an argument with you. So, it's just always toxic, never anything else. Next, we have Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm going to put it in mostly good. The main reason why is because a lot of people get like really toxic about the ending of Yu Yu Hakusho. They start a lot of arguments being like, how could you enjoy the ending, or how do you think the ending's trash, or anything like that. And it's like, it's kind of crazy to nitpick such a little part of a show, and so that's why I think it's a little bit toxic. But most people who watch Yu Yu are like, hey, it's a pretty good show. It's a great show, honestly. It's an amazing show. And you know, normally it's an older show, so people had time to appreciate it. It's not really popping anymore, so you don't get those surface level fans that are like, you know, just like LARPing on it and trying to, you know, say shit they don't know about it. So everybody who talks about Yu Yu knows a lot about it, and you know, they just have a good time talking. So I'd say mostly good, but when the ending gets brought up, then the toxicity comes out. So yeah. Next we have Sword Art Online. As crazy as it is for a show I really dislike, it's mostly good. They're not really bad. Like, they're not that bad. I'm going to be honest. It's similar to Tsukimichi. Like, if you don't like Sword Art, most Sword Art fans are like, okay. They don't really care. It does still have bad ones because I don't know how, but it's considered an isekai, and it's literally not. I don't know how it's considered that. But, so it has the isekai fan base there still, and isekai fans are dog ass. So, you know, we've already been over that. But, yeah, for the most part, they're not really that bad. So I'd say they're mostly good. Next, we have Blue Exorcist. I'm gonna say mostly good as well. I feel like Blue Exorcist fans, they just have an attitude, if that makes sense. They're not really that toxic, but it's just, I feel like they have like a little bit of an attitude. I don't really know how else to explain this, because there are just not many Blue Exorcist fans. But yeah, I just feel like they have an attitude. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I'm thinking. Next, we have My Hero. Obviously, My Hero is the worst fan base of all time, hands down. Now, I do think it'll start to go away, and I already feel like it's starting to go away now that the show's over. But My Hero fan base is just dog shit. Why are we shipping all these characters? It's trash. It just ruins the show for other people. You know how many people have told me they haven't watched My Hero because of the fan base? Like, you guys ruined the show. My Hero, in my opinion, is one of the greatest anime of all time. But with the fan base, I see how people could be like, it's not. Because you guys ruin the shit. You just make it bad. Like, I don't understand. There's never been a fan base to ruin a show. Like, for example, I mean, at JoJo's, that's getting close. But like Dragon Ball, or like or Chainsaw Man, like, I'm still going to like those even though the community is very toxic. My Hero actually sends people away from their show. That's how bad they are. And to me, that's ridiculous. That's the worst fan base ever. You can't get worse than that. Next, we have Assassination Classroom, though. I'd say mostly good. I think the only time anything gets toxic when Assassination Classroom is like when I'm like, honestly, they're just not lovely. Like, they're not just great to talk to. I think that's why they're not going to make it, because it doesn't really get toxic, but there's also nothing lovely about the community. It's not like they're a great community or uplift anything or do anything like that. Like, it's just solid. So yeah, just say mostly good, I guess, because it's not like I said, they're not lovely to talk to, but they're not bad. Anyway, next we have Full Metal. I'm actually going to put them in lovely, and I think a lot of people might find this crazy because a lot of people are probably thinking like, oh, Full Metal fans are always like, it's the best show ever. And yes, they do say that. Full Metal fans are always like, it's the greatest show ever, it's the perfect show ever. But if you disagree with them, they're normally nice about it. They're not normally going to be like, oh no, you're just wrong, you haven't watched it. They're just going to be like, oh, well, you should give it a watch. Or it's like, oh, okay. Like, at least that's my experience with Full Metal fans. For the most part, to me, they don't really do that much. Maybe it could be mostly good because there are always arguments, is it and the greatest, and arguments are always going to breed toxicity. So I'll move it to mostly good. But for the most part, I feel like, they're always like, it's the perfect show ever, it's the greatest anime ever, and I'll be like, I don't think so, but I do think it's good, and they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. For the most part, I guess we will go mostly good because there's always going to be arguments about the greatest of all time. So that breeds toxicity. So yeah, we'll put it mostly good. Next, we have Mob Psycho 100. I'll put in lovely. I've never met a toxic Mob Psycho fan. They've all been very nice, and they all love talking about other shows, so it's awesome. I feel like when you watch Mob Psycho, you get a lot of appreciation for other things. So yeah, I think a lot of people are really like that. Next, we have Black Clover. Now, I'm a big Black Clover fan. It's my third favorite anime ever. But it's hard to say, honestly. I think I'm going to put them in mostly good, because there are obviously toxic Black Clover fans. Anything that's coming out now is going to have toxic fans. But with Black Clover, it's like, how do I explain this? Like, we're just always positive. Like, we're just happy. Like, I feel like we give things the benefit of the doubt, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. I feel like most Black Clover fans try to be nice and just try to be excited for other people and for themselves. And so I feel like that's mostly good. You know, you can't really complain about that. There's obviously going to be some toxic people. You know, that's just how it is with new gen anime. But yeah, I think it's solid for the most part. Next we have Naruto. Now this is the example we talked about earlier, where it's like they used to be super toxic, but now that it's done, not really that toxic anymore. I feel like all the toxic ones moved to Boruto, and all the big Naruto fans are still, they're just chilling. I mean, obviously I'm like the biggest Naruto fan there is, so it's obviously going to be biased, but are they lovely? I'm going to say mostly good. Obviously it's one of those shows that it's in the contention for the greatest anime of all time, so it's always going to have some toxicity around it. So I would say mostly good, but nowadays talking to a Naruto fan is not as bad as it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago talking to a Naruto fan was like, it was terrible. Now it's fine. It's fine now. I feel like the community is really settled in, and it's good. But yeah, there's going to be toxicity because it's obviously one of the greatest anime ever. Next we have Fire Force. Oh, Fire Force is tough. Actually, I'm going to put it in mostly bad, because one thing about the Fire Force community that I hate is the hate on Takamaki. Or, yeah, that's her name, right? Tamaki, sorry. I was reading her name. All right, anyway, let's move on. I don't get the hate for her. I get it. People don't like fan service. But the same people that don't like the fan service in Fire Force have watched shows with way more Fire Force, and yet they only complain about Tamaki. And then they're like, oh, it's just the type of fan service. And it's like, it's not bad at all. And I get that's an opinion thing, right? But it's like, they're putting down their own show. That cannot be good as a fan base, because they still love Fire Force, but like Tamaki is just not good. And it's like, I don't agree with that. Like, I don't know. I think it's wrong to put a show down because of something that little. So for me, I'm going to put them in mostly bad. As well, it's coming out as well. There's a lot of people that, I don't know, maybe neutral. Because I feel like a lot of people are pretty nice about Fire Force, and a lot of people that like Fire Force are pretty nice. But there are a lot of them that just put down their own show. So I can't put them in good when you're hating on your own show and being a fan of it. So I'm going to have to put it in neutral. And I get people be like, oh, it's just critiquing the show or whatever. But I just don't think it's valid. I think you're just riding a wave, like again, it's like the surface level shit. Like, you're just riding the wave of Tamaki hate because it's not that bad, or else you wouldn't like the show. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in neutral. Next we have To Be Hero X. It's similar to, holy shit, I feel like I'm about to throw up. It's pretty similar to Full Metal. Now, it's not in contention for the greatest anime ever, but it's in contention for one of the best new gen ever. I mean, it is fantastic. And so it comes with a lot of stuff that My Hero does, or not My Hero, Full Metal does, where it's like, oh, this is the greatest thing out right now. And you see the critique ratings, it's like almost every episode has over a 9. Wow, this show's amazing, this show's amazing. And it's like, dude, I don't know, they be overhyping this shit, right? And, you know, so you are going to have some of the toxic fans doing that and stuff. But if you watch To Be Hero X, you're like, wow, this is amazing. And, you know, and then if you talk about it with people, it's like, hey, I thought it was good. Or you're like, hey, maybe I didn't like it so much. It's like, all right, that's cool. I think the only complaint that you're going to get toxicity from is being like, oh, it's CGI, it's CGI. Most of the show is not in CGI, first of all. Second of all, it's probably some of the best CGI we've seen in anything. So, I don't know. You know, you're going to get toxicity when you bring up the CGI for sure. So that's why I'm going to say mostly good. Because for the most part, I think they're respectable of most things. But yeah. Next we have Samurai Champloo. I'm going to put lovely. If you're a fan of Samurai Champloo, you do appreciate a lot of the little things. Because that's what Samurai Champloo is. That's what makes it special, is all the little things. So if you're in that fan base, you do appreciate the little things in life. You appreciate the little things in other shows. You appreciate just talking to people about shows. Now, I could bump it down because there are some people that do think like Samurai Champloo, at least musically, is like revolutionary and stuff like that. Which, if you think that, that's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But some people are willing to die on the hill that Samurai Champloo is like musically like the greatest anime ever. And so you could say it's a little bit toxic, but I think it's fine. So I'm keeping it lovely. Next we have Trigun. It's going in lovely as well. I've never met a bad Trigun fan. And I remember when I critiqued Trigun, it didn't get like a amazing score. It did not get above a 9. I'm gonna tell you now. I'm not gonna say the exact score because we do got to get to it later. But it didn't get a perfect rating. Yet all the Trigun fans were like, hey, it's respectable. I still love the show. It's awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I love the show too. And it's like, yeah, it's great, blah, 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 this and that. And they just start casual conversation with you about Trigun. They are so nice. Trigun fans are some of the nicest. They might be the best community. They're awesome. I love Trigun fans because you can critique the show. You can say what you don't like about it. And they'll be like, yeah, I mean, I get it, right? Like, and it's awesome. Trigun fans are great. If you haven't watched Trigun, go watch it. And you'll love talking to people about it because they're all so nice. Next we have Fate. This is toxic. Fate fans, especially, you can literally just go look at my last anime review of Fate, and there were things that I was saying, like, now there's one comment that was left, and I appreciate the guy because he was like, he was just disagreeing on certain things, but he's like, hey, it's just an opinion. That stuff is cool. But there was a guy, he literally starts off the comment with like, I see why people don't like you, and then listed a bunch of subjective shit again that's like, oh, this and that, and it's like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm not reading your comment or taking it seriously, or I'm not going to take Fate fans seriously when you start off bullshit like that. If you don't like someone because they have a different opinion than you like, and something so little, I should say, because obviously there are some opinions that are very like important, but something as little as, hey, I don't really like Saber, if that causes you to be like, oh, you're an idiot, I don't like you, like this and that, there is something wrong with you because that is so little. Also, another thing with Fate fans, I have a friend that's a Fate fan. I walk into his room and I'm like, whoa, you got all these Fate figures and stuff, you got a lot of Fate things, this and that. It's like, wow, this show must be great. And they're like, yeah, it's the greatest, this like super amazing or whatever, one of the only shows like I'll watch in its entirety, everything like that. And you go to watch Fate and it's like, it's not that good. It's really not. Like, I think, again, Fate fans are ones that interject into a lot of things, and I think if you say anything bad about Fate, you get a lot of hate, which makes no sense because it's not an amazing show. It's good. I liked Fate, but it's not an amazing show by any means. It's not revolutionary. It's not one of the greatest ever. They treat it like that, and if you disagree with it, you are flat out wrong. You're an idiot. They don't listen to anything you say. And to me, that's just dumb. That's dumb, man. I'm sorry. That's super toxic. Next we have Tokyo Revengers. I'm going to put it neutral. I feel like they don't sway either way. It's going to be similar to like Cyberpunk and Psyche K. There's no extremes there. There's not a lot of great, not a lot of bad. At least in my experience with Tokyo Revenger fans, I don't feel like they really swing either way on any scale here. Next we have Dr. Stone, which I'm going to put it mostly good. I'm currently watching Dr. Stone, and hey, they do wonders for the show, because I heard about how good Dr. Stone is, and I think it's solid. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to hate on the show or anything, but it's not really that amazing. Yet every time I hear Dr. Stone, people are talking positive about it, which I know you're like, hey, that doesn't make it good, but every time someone's like, I don't really like Dr. Stone, they get it. They get it, and I love a fan base that's like, they understand. And that's what I try to do, especially making anime content. Obviously, I put a lot of my opinions and stuff. And when people disagree with me, that's fine. As long as you're respectful about it, I don't care, bro. Because I'm going to sit here in the video and be entertaining this and that. And I'm going to be like, oh, this is dog shit. This is trash. Do I really think it's that bad? No. Unless if it's Elusive Samurai, it's dog ass. But, you know, I do it for the thing. And if you come in respectfully and like, you know, I'll be like, yeah, I know. I was just exaggerating shit, right? But, yeah, Dr. Stone fans, I feel like are mostly respectful. But again, it's currently coming out. You're going to have those surface level toxic fans, so mostly good. Next we have Pluto. I've only met one Pluto fan, and he was a piece of shit. But I feel like I can't rank it off that, so I'm going to have to go neutral. It just does not have a fan base. It was this guy who was like, oh, I watched Pluto too, and I liked it, but this show is so overrated. Like, everybody calls Pluto good, and it's terrible. I like the show, but it's not that good. And I'm like, I've never heard anybody that's even watched the show. So where are you getting this that people are saying like it's amazing? And he just wanted to start an argument. Because like I gave Pluto like a decent score on its review. It wasn't above a 9 or anything. But I gave it a decent score. And he was like, these people overrate Pluto so much. It's trash. This is not. I like the show, but it ain't that good. And it's like, he just came in there and started an argument for no reason. Now, if every Pluto fan's like that, it's definitely toxic. But I think that guy just had to stick up his ass or something. I don't know why is that butthurt about Pluto of all things. We're not even talking about nothing crazy here. We're just talking about a little anime on Netflix that's 8 episodes long. Like, you're overreacting. So yeah, there's something wrong with that guy, but yeah. Next we have Erase. I'm going to go in Lovely. I think it's similar to something like Mob Psycho. I've never met a fan of Erased who has been toxic. You know, they all are normally pretty positive. And yeah, I think it's pretty simple. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this list, let me know down in the comments. Now, I think the people that are going to give hate in the comments are the people of these shows down here. But I do think a lot of them will agree. I think a lot of fan bases, you know, understand what their fan base is, even if they do fall into it. Like, I'm a big Naruto fan, and I know the fan base before was ass. I don't really see much Naruto stuff nowadays, so maybe it is still bad, and, you know, maybe I'm wrong about that. But at least from my interactions and from the things I say about Naruto, a lot of the people are cool with it. A lot of people agree with me, so yeah, and we can have conversations about it. It's normally fun. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe, please. It helps me out a lot, and I hope to see you guys Thursday for our next anime review, and yeah, for Sunday's video as well. I'll see y'all. Peace.